Welcome to CHO Wines. This is one of the newer wineries and tasting rooms here in the Willamette Valley. It's only been open for a couple of years, but they have such a fascinating origin story that I think you're going to want to add this to your list. Let's go check them out.
Our winery started by Dave and Lois Cho. We're called CHO Wines. Cho is their last name, but it also stands for carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Those are the makeup of all living things and how we're all connected. Dave and Lois were married young in their early 20s. Around 2010, Dave was in grad school and Lois was a nurse practitioner. He dropped out of grad school and did a week of silence in Burgundy. And during that time, he found that he was in love with music. That was his passion. And Lois, from the beginning, she's been the enabler. So first, we pursued music. During that time, she would actually sing backup for his band while they bussed in Santa Monica. A gentleman who owned a winery in Temecula gave them his card and said, please come play music at my wineries, which they took him up on that offer. And that's really where the snowball effect started. So they started playing music at wineries. Dave eventually volunteered with a harvest. And as Lois says, she encouraged him to follow his dreams. So in their early 30s, Dave decided to go back to school. That's what brought them up to Oregon from Southern California. He studied winemaking at Oregon State. He graduated from OSU, and then he worked at a few wineries in the late 2010s. They launched CHO in 2020. They were a family of 5, 3 little ones, launched CHO, and I feel like the last 5 years have just been go, go, go to get to this point. Their motivation always has come down to their family. They wanted to leave a legacy for their children. To do that, they both had to commit. And so while Lois was in healthcare, after 2020, when they kind of started taking CHO full picture, she also started to put her priority into CHO, and they've been working on it together since then. We didn't have this beautiful winery and 77 acres at the time, and so it started off as really just grassroots. They really worked hard to find this location, which they did in 2021. They launched in COVID times of all times. They popped up. They actually had a huge following on social media. Lois had a TikTok go viral. From there, we received a lot of press. They also found this vineyard site that we're at today. So they launched CHO in 2020. They bought the vineyard in 2021, and then it wasn't a vineyard at the time, just 77 acres of overgrown berries. So it took some time to clean it up, and they planted the first vines in 2022. We only have planted 8.5 acres so far. About half of the 77 acres are those are all available to eventually plant. So we have a lot of room to grow. We have the 3 most common grapes planted, so Pinot Noir, Chardonnay, and Pinot Gris. And we have a huge elevation change, so towards the road around the tasting room, we sit at about 1,000 feet elevation. We love cooler climates to help preserve the acidity of the grapes, so especially we love sparkling. So 1,000 feet elevation, and then the vineyard does slope down to about 500-600 feet at the lower end. Our eventual goal is to be fully estate run with the grapes, so we source our grapes right now from all around the Willamette Valley. We even source some of our Syrah from Eastern Oregon. And then we do bring everything next door. So for 2 years now, we've had our cellar open. So we make the wine next door, and then we have our tasting room. So they both opened in 2024.
This is the first Korean American winery here in Oregon, not just the Willamette Valley.
Exactly. And Lois did start the AAPI Food and Wine Festival to really help elevate the community.
How does Dave describe his winemaking style?
He likes to compare his winemaking style to how he raises his kids. He doesn't like to intervene too much. We're sitting pretty high up at 1,000 feet elevation. We love a dry, acid-forward wine. Nothing too sweet really is on the menu, and so we source from vineyard sites that can kind of help us get as close as possible as what we will eventually be offering from our estate.
How many Pinot Noirs do you have right now?
I feel like there's at least 6 on this wall. Some of them are single vineyards, so depending on which vineyard we're sourcing from. We try to source from Chehalis Mountains a lot, a lot of nearby, but I mean, some of them are from Carlton area, so we do go across AVAs, and then also our Syrah is Milton Free Water. So our Pinot program, all of the wines are made very similarly, similar barrels, so really the difference would be where they're sourced from. The Dreamer's Reserve, as I mentioned, Dave is a dreamer. It was a decade-long dream in the making to get to this point. The Dreamer's Reserve is offered every vintage. It's his and Lois's favorite barrels from that year's vintage. Everything with the Oregon wildflowers, those are more of our classical methods like Pinot Noir. Anything with the fun CHO logo, like our Pinot Gris Pet Nat over here, our Chillable Red, those are more experimental. And I mentioned Dave got his start in wine by playing music at wineries. And so we like to compare those to music. So if you see them out in the wild, these are like classical music and this is like jazz.
All right, so first things, when the guests came in, we always pour them a welcome bubbles. I'm pouring 2025 CHO bubbles. It's 100% Pinot Gris, and we make a really good CHO mosa with some orange juice with it. And they got a really cute label design. So right now, whatever you see, we should say it's from Lois. She designed the tasting room, the logos, the labels, and whatever you taste is from Dave. Dave makes really good sparkling wine. One of his most popular sparkling wine is the Pet Nat. And then some of our sparkling wine was previously in top 100 in Wine Enthusiast. So we should have two flights available. One of them is our estate tasting. So it kind of a mix of the bubbles, white, rosé, and then finish up with some Pinot Noir. And then we have a sparkling wine flight options. We come with both traditional method sparkling wine and also some fun project wine like the Pet Nat. The estate tasting right now is $50, come with 6 wine. And then a sparkling wine flight is $60, come with 5 wines. And so we are kind of in a transition to our summer tasting menu. So in summertime, we're gonna put in more a new vintage wine and also some new sparkling wine. We just made them last year. We recently just released this apple cider.
Oh,
This is
nice.
a Pinot Noir hard cider. We collaborated with 19 Acres located in Sherwood. So this one is a co-fermentation between Pinot Noir and Honeycrisp apples. We also offer food options here. So those will be charcuterie board and also caviar. So we offer non-alcoholic drinks options. Right now we're offering Korean grape juice and orange juice, Topo Chico, and also non-alcoholic yuzu gin and tonic. Oh, and also we are a kids-friendly wineries. So we offer some play mats and some blocks for kiddos. And also we offer juice box and snacks when they first came in.
And then is the patio pet friendly?
Yes.
Okay.
So we are open Thursday to Monday, 11 to 4 o'clock. So our last seating will be 4 o'clock.
Okay.
And then, so we usually try to stick to our reservation hours, 11 o'clock in the morning, 1 and 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay.
I highly recommend making reservation online because we do get booked up pretty fast in the weekend in summertime.
So I mentioned CHO is carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. Those are our 3 club levels. So that's fun. So we offer 3 levels. You receive quarterly wine allocations, get invited to our club parties if you're local. If you're supporting from afar, we connect with our members quarterly as well. So we bring the club party to them. We talk about the new releases, anything that we would share with members on site, we want to bring that to our members that live out of state as well. We have different benefits for every level. For someone who really wants to have access to our great events, the tasting room, all of our fun benefits, Carbon's a great intro to CHO. You're receiving 3 bottles every quarter. Everyone's receiving the same bottle, so it's our winemaker selection. If a member is more interested in customizing and free shipping and they're going through wine a little bit quicker, then we have hydrogen as our 6 bottle club. I would say that one's pretty popular because folks love to customize, they love free shipping. Summertime at the tasting room is magical because we have our patio. We don't have a kitchen on site, but we host lots of Portland chefs who do pop-up events. Our members and non-members, depending on the event, get to come in. They'll get splashes of welcome bubbles, and they're able to do, we have some that are more casual, where it's a walk-around tasting with food. Otherwise, if it's more of a ticketed event with seating, we also offer those options as well. Those usually take place in the summer months or warmer months. In the cooler months, maybe when it's a little bit rainier, the weather's a little bit unpredictable this high up, we try to pop up in Portland.
Okay.
So that way we're having both events in the city as well as out in wine country.
Yep.
We have delicious wines, magical views. It's quite memorable to come out here, whether you're local or visiting from out of state. But our wine flights are so fun. We don't focus on just one type of wine. We're not just Pinots. We love from the welcome bubbles to the classics. There's something for everyone.